Hello guys, good to see you again. Good to have you guys again on top the show this lovely okay, I called it Monday. Wednesday, the week is divided. Vivian is like, Slimmy, please, you want it to count forward, not backward. Anyway, so it's a Wednesday, and obviously you already know, traditionally you can see crested, well written, for we back now legal matter. Let me say every Wednesday from the hour of 8:15 thereabouts, yes to 9 o'clock. Barrister is around. Just made it obvious now. You know, we always get the legal experts for inside the studio. We always relate on top everything we guys do with the law. And for a couple of weeks now, I think like 2 weeks thereabouts, Barrister don't be the look into rape. And we'll be start on a discussion that had so many callers last week, which was legal dimensions of rape and sexual offences in Nigeria. And it talks they look different because sexual offences plenty. You understand? There are so many, not just rape. So it's not like we are going to center our discourse on rape alone. There are other parts that we'll be looking into this morning. So guys, let's welcome Barrister, looking so traditional today, liking your cap and stuff, the brown and brown. Barrister with the swag. Fresh and fly. Barrister, you have the floor, Jerry. You have come now. Which one?
I'm shy.
Do you I know? Lawyers are never shy.
I'm shy.
Barrister, do you have shy lawyers?
No. I'm shy. You know I'm shy.
You?
Me, I'm good. How are you doing this? Everybody at home, good afternoon.
No, good morning, Barrister. It's just
the light is too bright here.
at 8:17.
It's just that's that light.
Really?
Anyway, it's a good day for us to go back to where we stopped last week. We have been talking about something that is very topical. The issue of rape and sexual offences. And like Slimmy said, sexual offences is not just about rape. There are so many dimensions of sexual offences. It's a very topical, very hot and large topic. But we're going to, just what we're trying to tell ourselves is that know these things so that you can avoid it. And so even those of us who have been victims, what you can do if you're a victim, and also for parents who are watching to see that there are dimensions, or people to also know that you don't take things for granted, and the possibilities of putting yourself into trouble because of ignorance is so much. So welcome on board. Welcome on board this morning. This part of the thing I want to say today is that Steve said something which is very pivotal to this discussion of today. I'm going to list almost about 10 different types of sexual offenses, and so that I can understand that it's not just about rape.
Yeah.
Rape is just one of those incidences. There's what they call sodomy. Sodomy is when you're having sex against the natural order. You know, sometimes, you know, people want to say, okay, it's about homosexuality, but it's not just about homosexuality. But now, sodomy is that, for instance, if your victim is there's an intercourse with this victim from the backside, not from the normal, sexual organ thing. Okay, but a man is, you know, sodomizing or having a sex with another person, another man, even another man, from the backside. That is sodomy, and that is an offense in Nigeria. You know,
Barrister, is it because he's having it with a man?
yeah, you see, the natural order, the natural order is to have it through the vagina, the sexual organ against the. But if you're now going to reverse, and also there are also some other types of sexual fantasies that look as if, you know, it's bordering about towards like it's not in line with the natural order of things. So there are some people that will enjoy having people beating.
Yeah,
and is out of the beating that they even derive their sexual pleasure from. So, you know, you can get a victim and start beating the person, and you're driving your sexual. So those are against the natural order of things. That's sodomy. And some there have been cases where some people, in the guise of saying that about a year ago or so, somewhere in Bomosho or so, and a school meant for religious order, one order was said that they're trying to kill some people of ailments and what have you. And those guys said that, look, not that every time they come, it's as if they pick us from a cage, go and sodomize us, and then bring us back in the morning. So these are all the issues that, in fact, that was one reason why the school was closed down. And before you know, if you start finding such things in the north, where it was a school that was supposedly meant for raising children, but people, so that's, and if you find yourself in such an environment, you are risking your liberty because, for instance, when those kids were caught, were rescued, the people that were caught, had questions to be answering. They had to answer questions because of, okay, look, these are boys, okay, you are men, but every night they take us and sodomize us. So, okay, that's also bestiality. That's another one. Bestiality is that when it's sex with animals. So, some time ago, a man was caught having sex with goats. Sexual, and some time ago, some years ago, was a woman that was, having sex with a dog. So, these are, even if you derive pleasure from it, even though you say that, but these are sexual offenses because in Nigeria, it's not permitted. It's not an allowed phenomenon that, you could have sex with a goat, a man having sex with a goat, or, some time ago, also somebody sent a video, I remember, of a man that was having sex with a horse. So these are bestiality. It's an offense. So if you are caught, remember, if no matter how you derive pleasure from it, even I think in Lagos or probably somewhere, I saw a video also of a young boy, an apprentice that was caught having sex with a goat. So that's as an offense by itself. So that you have to understand. The homosexuality is an offense. Homosexuality is when you are engaged with even if it's by consent, when you engage in sex with a person with your own gender, and that's why I have to be very careful. So sometimes, in countries abroad, sometimes when you have people that say they are transgenders, they've crossed, they've done some makeovers, probably some surgeries to make them. So there's usually that coloration about, are they still in that technical sense? Are you still having sex with a man of same? Because if someone was a man yesterday, became a woman today because of transgender surgery, could that still be said that that man is naturally a woman and things like that? So those ones are debates that are still going on in those climes. But in Nigeria, what is known is that when you have sex with your own gender, as a person of your own gender,
a male to
male, it is a crime. It is a pure crime, and that can land you in jail. So sometimes you have to be very careful. Even appearances of it can cause a lot of issues. So you have to be very careful about how you relate with yourself. I know I was trying to, I think there was a time when my wife and I were somewhere abroad, and then, and we were just waiting for for train to move to where we're the next point. And so while I was talking to her, she was talking, two men behind me. I'd actually seen them. I'd seen them very well. And these were not men that were even clean shaved. They were all bearded, all beards and things like that. And, they were hugging and doing all whatnot. And so I knew that if my wife saw that, there was going to be katakata. So I tried to engage my wife in talk and discussion, animatedly.
So take her attention.
Of course, she still saw them and shouted, "Yay!" I said, Makubami, don't put me into trouble. I've seen what you saw. But you see, this is their own country. Now, you don't say that because that's acceptable in those countries. And then because of that, you bring that here. Yeah. No, it's not. The moment, even if you have that predisposition, the moment you enter Nigeria airspace, forget about it, because in Nigeria, that is not meant to be. So, and you also have pedophiles. Pedophiles. Pedophile is some people that enjoy seeing probably naked pictures of little children. They were seeing naked pictures or taking pictures of little children, or just deriving pleasure from probably touching little children and little like that, and so that in a way that is suggestive of sex or hormone. You know, when you have sex with underage, it is called defilement. But you know, when you don't even have that at all. You're just probably you are fond of, you know, rubbing your hand over the child, you know, making the child like uncomfortable and what have you. That is a pedophile disposition. That is also an abuse of that child. So that could be, you know, a basis of offense, and you know you could go for it. Just that's why you have to hold back your proclivity, your likeness to be touching people anyhow, touching. Yeah. So there's what we call incest. Incest is about when relatives, people who are supposed to be connected by blood and even sometimes by marriage, are having sexual relationships. Particularly, let's say a stepfather and a stepdaughter, or a father and a daughter. You know, regardless
That
of
one
who,
is becoming too
yes,
common.
regardless of who is initiating what, regardless of how much is enjoyable in quote or how much acceptable it is, it's in an offense. It's an offense under our law for to be engaged in incestuous relationship. So you have to be very careful that, you know, cousins with cousins, brothers and sisters, you know, all those kind of possibilities, you know, stepdaughter and, you know, stepfather, you know, all you have to be sure that you are not putting yourself, because you might say, in fact, you know, this is not even about probably an overage and underage. The reality is that even if the person is overage, but the fact that you guys are connected and having sex can be a basis of, you know, a criminal, because you have to be very careful that you don't cross the limit. And then
So what about if they are distant cousins and they never knew and they eventually got
that can
married?
be accepted, because even it's possible that
Because somehow, I think we're all related.
yeah, somehow,
There's this
you know, it's
belief.
possible. Even the law says that if two cousins, relatives, find out that they, because by law, by default, a man will say is a cousin or is a daughter, cannot marry under the law, under our law. Although under the culture, it happen, no, it still they happen today. But if you won't go under the law, you cannot marry your cousin under the law.
Without you knowing.
Now,
That's
if
what
you
I'm
don't
saying.
know, and if you know later, by
happens?
reason of that thing, it can become, that marriage can be void. So what you now run to is go and do what is called to ask the court to give you a special dispensation to say that, look, this happened in total ignorance of, and things have gone so much into it that we cannot reverse the role now. So to that extent, you want the court to validate that marriage. Otherwise, it's null and void. That marriage is null and void. So anybody from the other side can say, okay, look, we're not
No longer married.
so look, it's null and void and things like that.
Okay. All right. So please, I think it's safe for us to go for a quick break, right? And when we come back, it'll be time for us to open the phone lines. Discussion will be continued, and the numbers will be open, and you guys will be able to contribute on top of the show. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Our people in the talk say ignorance of the law no be excuse.
If my name na in for property, my child no fit take that thing.
But I get one question. Now, if person die now and he puts his wife or he puts any of his relative as next,
ignorance of the law no be excuse o. That na why we get one ogbonge program wey we dey call Legal Matter on top WAP TV.
just in case you get any business you go on do with us on top Legal Matter, you don't see the numbers to call, please make sure you call those numbers. They are just a phone call away. All right, but then now still Legal Matter, and of course before we been go on that break, or before Barrister and I been go on that break, they look into the legal dimensions of rape and sexual offense there for inside Obodo, Nigeria. And of course, it only emphasis on top the facts. It not be just the rape, you know, now be the main thing when it comes to sexual offenses. We get other dimensions, and of course, he talked about homosexuality. He talked about sodomy. He talked about pedophiles and a couple of other things. And he said he has 10. We've done just 4, right? Okay, so we open our phone lines side by side. Where they take your questions, where they take your contributions on top of the show. And Barrister go dey list out the other offences what we need to know when it comes to, you know, sexual offences. 08105434985 because 08173147589. Remember, you can also Skype. Yes, you can call us on Skype. We like to see faces this morning. Just make sure you add us up on WAP TV. And you'll be able to see your face too. You know, you call us, we see you, and then you get to see yourself. You know, it's amazing. The vibe is really amazing. Right, Star?
Yes,
Okay.
I was talking about incest. I talk about incest, that you have to be very careful. Very careful, really be very careful, because it's not, that one is not even about anything. You know, there's incestuous rape and there's incestuous relationship.
Like a daughter and a father
Yes,
agreeing.
incestuous relationship is a crime. Then incestuous rape.
Barrister, okay, please can you just take your time to explain the two?
Okay.
You know, to avoid misconception.
Okay. The law says that, I think in section 214 of the criminal code, okay, I'm not going to go to that side, but it says any person who has carnal knowledge of any person against the order of nature is guilty of a felony, and that offense for that offense is liable to imprisonment for 14 years. So it is considered against the order of nature for you to have, even if it's a consensual, most of you are gonna agree, now say, okay, we love ourselves, but you both are probably sister and brother, and you, or probably your cousins, or probably your father and daughter, or mother and son. You know, just yesterday it was in the news, in the social media, of a woman who took a picture with her son, 7-year-old son.
You know, she actually came out to apologize. I think after the old bashing and all of that, but as it is now, I wouldn't say it's late anyways, because she's been police for there don't arrest her and all of that. Instead, the message wasn't for, she wasn't trying to pass a negative message to her child, that she just wanted her child to see her for who she is. Like, okay, this was how I bore you, like I was naked, I went through stress, this is me, and I just want you to know me for me, and don't pass me when I need you, because this was just the situation when I had you. You know, so some persons were like, oh, really, the meaning is deep, hey, she's really emotional, you know, blah, 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 blah. But then the case is different now, because people are so interested in our situation.
So that's what I'm saying, that you have to be, because it's considered an abuse.
To the child.
Yes, to the child. Because, you know, whether you like it or not, and this is one of the reasons why this thing what we do, we have to understand it very deep. It might be from an emotional perspective.
As a mother.
As a mother. But you see, the law and moral, you know, they're different things, you know. Sometimes there's a convergence. Sometimes law and moral, it come together.
Okay.
You see them come together. It's okay, do not kill. It's immoral to kill. It's illegal to kill.
Okay. Now, I want to know what the offense is, Barrister. Is it because she posted
under the child rights, under the child rights,
okay,
and which I'm sure they have in Ghana, similar something. You don't. It's one of the things that you have to protect about is the. Let me put it like this. You know, your nudity is an offense to me as a person. That's why you have to.
Because you're an external body.
You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying. If, for instance, you come by out of your convenience, and probably you know I'm here, even if I'm your, you know, let's say like, okay, you're passing node, I can sue you, yes, because you are more or less, you know, you are not respecting my sanity, you are not respecting the dignity of my person, you are not respecting. So that's why they call it indecent exposure. That is a crime, indecent exposure. So that's why you don't go to a park, you know, and start, you know, doing rubbish, because even though it's your private life, but there's what they call indecent exposure. So it's a crime. And now the same thing with that child. What has happened is that yes, there might be emotional reason. I mean, like I said, invariably many people, one way or the other, expose themselves to some degree.
Even as parents, you know, some parents still dress in front of their kids.
But to the extent that the way it is going now is like, look, don't respect that child, respect the dignity of that child, respect even the sensibility of that child. So that child requires that you don't expose yourself. So under the law now, exposure of that child to such sins can call for the child to say, look, that child is not being raised in a proper manner.
Okay.
You get
Yeah, I
so
do.
that's one of the things that in that case.
Okay, let's take David from Abuja. Hello, David. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing today?
Fine.
All right, yeah.
I'm enjoying your show. I like the program. I like the topic you guys are treating this morning.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. But I have a small question I want to ask.
Okay.
You know, what if a Nigerian who, let me say, he was not born in Nigeria or she was not born in Nigeria. She was born outside the country, over the country, where their culture over there encourages maybe marry your family relative or your, let me say, your family relative, So the person was born in that culture, like was born outside those countries. So the person now came back and maybe got involved in such an act or something like that. Would there be punishment for such a person as well?
Yeah. That's thank you very much, David, for that. Because one of the things that you have to understand is, when you're defining or describing law, when you want to define law or describe law, there are about 6 elements that you might not be able to give a concise definition of law, but there are 6 elements that will describe law. Law is a rule or a body of rules meant to regulate conduct. Number 2, meant to be obeyed. Number 3, there are sanctions attached for disobedience. Number 4, number 5, it is different from morals. Number 6, it is different from country or from location to location. So a law in England might not necessarily be a law here. But the bottom line is that once there is a form of order based on those rules, there's a law. So we can have the law that says everybody rush for food in Nigeria, but in England everybody queues. So you cannot say because you are a Nigerian, you have to go and rush there. You know where I'm coming from. The minute you do the rushing, they arrest you. They arrest you. The same thing, like the case of Ara Mohammed, in long-time case, a man that married a 13-year-old, from Nigeria or so, and took that child to abroad, to UK or so, and that was meant to be the second wife. Of course, even though his culture permitted him to do that here in Nigeria, but in England it was considered that it was a criminal offense to marry number 1 second wife and to have a child as a minor. So it's not about what the disposition is. It's about understanding. There was a time I was to travel somewhere, and I asked the citizen of that country, blah blah blah, about what. So I said, look, as far as I'm concerned, just know what the law says in my country, because once you go against the law, you're not coming back to your country.
You're not coming back to your country.
Yeah,
another David from Abuja.
Okay.
No, it's still the same David.
Same David. Okay, please go on.
Yeah, okay. I still have one more question to ask. I like the explanation the barrister is giving to me.
Okay.
Okay, the question now is, currently now, if you go on social media, Facebook, Twitter, you see most of twerking videos, half-naked girls. So can you sue any of them for those acts?
Yeah. To the degree that that's why if you saw that there was a time when an artist called Techno did something about some girls, and then they said, look, we are trying to, and that's why you have to get it very well, because when we say sexual rape and sexual offences, it's not just about just rape alone, because that was why Techno was arrested and a lot of things were done for those girls. Yes. Once it's becoming, there's nothing that stops a person's coming.
But what happens to the girls?
A vixen can be arrested.
The girls could also be
Yes.
arrested. What happens to those strippers, like the ones we get to see in the club? That's why it can be an indulgence. Police might be. Let me put it this way. You see, a law remains a law until it's voided. True.
It remains a law until it's voided. So you can have everyone passing a one way, and nobody's arrested. But one day, when there is a need to arrest, you can't say because I passed it yesterday or even before now, I saw somebody that passed it. It's a case of, and that's why you can see that sometimes the police will go and raid a stripping club, a strippers club, and arrest people. You know, it's there because, you know, the law is there. Indecent exposure. That gathering is not. That's why if you are there, no matter how protected, how many times you have been going there, the day there's a raid that is beyond whatever settlement they have done before, because you could have settled this one, settled that one, and they pass by without even coming back. It isn't possible. It's even possible that the police in that area are even giving protection. But there could be a day when there will be an overriding law, an order that says go and raid that place. Nobody's above the law. That's the rule of law.
Yeah.
I mean, you can learn from what is going on with Magu now, the FCC chairman.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
as of 2 days or 3 days ago, it was, you know, riding the horse. But today is one that's being grilled. So that it goes like that. Yes, sir.
Okay, I think you have a Skype call.
Yeah.
Okay, when you connect, but very please just continue.
Yes.
If you connect, we'll join you.
So it's one of those things that we have to understand, and I hope everybody's understanding. If you don't understand, just ask questions and
good.
come back.
Okay. Oh,
Hi.
you called yes. Oh,
Hi.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
morning.
Good morning. Thank you very
Yes, sir.
much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
That's my first Skype caller.
This topic, sir.
how you doing?
Very fine.
Thanks. Yeah.
Okay, so do you have questions for us? So you're just
Yes.
blushing like this.
Yeah.
Please go on.
I wanted to ask because there's this this on this matter of rape. There's this thing going on with one celebrity right now. I wanted to ask: is there, since they're placing laws now on people that on the perpetrators of rape, is there a law for those that falsely accuse people of rape?
Yeah.
Because it would be bad if somebody
At the end of
falsely,
the day.
me myself, for example, somebody falsely accuses me of rape and there's no law to get that person. There's no law to hold that person down. That see, you have falsely accused this person of this crime, and you are going to be penalized. So. So, is there anything?
Yeah.
Is there anything?
Okay.
I agree. See, that's a very, 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 very good question, because I've seen cases. I've also been involved
Because
in
the
cases
person offended you, just
when
rope the person.
you know, I know of a young man that is still since last year March or April, has been awaiting trial at Kirikiri Correctional Center, and in the course of that lost his brother, lost his mother, lost his only brother.
And don't tell me he was accused wrongly.
He was accused wrongly. Lost his only brother. The mother, out of anguish of soul, also has passed on now, just passed on about 3 weeks ago. And then the body is still there for a wrongly accused. In fact, it didn't happen. But this is where everybody listen to me. One, you need to be guarded. And I'm saying be guarded. Let me try and give you an example of what I'm trying to say. As a day, I think my wife and I were trying to get some Bible for this house. So, and we got to a point where we wanted to park, and then we asked people that are there if we could park, and they said we could park, and we parked. And when we came out of where we went to, we found out the car had been towed. The people that we saw were not there again, and so. They said, they said, didn't we see? Right under that place where there was a little covering. There was a little covering of like a leaf was covering the no parking sign that was there. And apparently those people knew that
You guys are supposed to
park there, but probably they are part of a team that we are looking for. So that was the most expensive. I would say most expensive visa I've ever got, because we had to go and pay official rates, almost 50K or so, to get that car out. They had to go and bring me, we had to go and bring tax or whatever. Now, what's that story behind that story is that, you see, once you should try and avoid putting yourself in that position. Try as much as possible. Learn from what you're learning, that it's possible you are staged up. So that's why you have to, as much as possible, run, fear because rape offense, what is it called? The punishment for rape is life imprisonment. And lately there was a man that.
Sorry, sir. Abayomi, good morning.
Morning.
Oh, good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, please go on with your question.
My question is that in the process, good morning. My name is Abayomi.
Yes, please turn down your volume.
Okay, I've done that.
All righty, thank you.
Yeah. Please, in the process whereby a judgment has been given against a tenant.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the process whereby a judgment has been given against a tenant, that packed out of a property that is occupying, and after so long, after about a year, let me say 7 years, and you now stumble on that tenant in a place you don't even expect to see him. Does the judgment that was given then, about 7 years ago, does it still apply to that person?
Of course. Thank you very much. By me, once judgment is given, it's extant. It remains extant until it is executed. So that's why even for tenants, I keep telling that if you are living in a house and your landlord has sued you for payment of rent that you are owing, if he gets judgment, even though you have moved away from that house, that judgment will permit him to seize your car on the road one day when you are going. It's because there's a judgment. Yes, there's a judgment, and it's judgment, and you do not appeal the judgment. So that judgment will remain, and it's extant. That's why I have judgments against people that have owed and they left, and they think that I just keep it because judgment is there.
When I see you,
the day I see you, all I just say that this judgment
and the
has
judgment
not
doesn't
been
expire.
executed. No, it doesn't expire, because it is a given judgment. It's a judgment, so it is there. So you are a judgment debtor. You are owing by judgment. Right. That's why you have to be very careful about allowing cases to lie without you doing anything about it. Because once it's given, except you appeal it, that judgment will stand against you anytime. So I thought I was going to finish this today,
and I really want us to finish. So we can go into
something. Other thing. So the issue is that for that case. So when I just want to answer that guy. So as much as possible, avoid him. But you see, once it has happened and then probably you are being framed, the best thing is to get a good lawyer fast.
Esther from Lagos, good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm fine.
All right, there. Please go on.
What I want to ask.
Your volume.
Question. I'm fine. Like I want to say something. What I want to say is that there is some girls. There is some girls that used to dance half naked for these musicians.
Yeah, Indecent.
All these musicians.
Yeah.
So what becomes of them in respect of this law that is going on? Because my mother normally says something. She will say, the men that are singing the song, dancing, they dress properly, and the girls that are dancing for them are half naked.
That's why. That's what I'm explaining, Esther. That you can cross without, in the course of trying to do business or trying to work, you can cross lines easily. So that's why even the vixens should be, who are watching, should also understand that that the fact that somebody gave you money to come and dance half naked does not remove you from that liability, because you are the principal person. That person was just procuring you to do what was illegal. So you have to be very careful about these dimensions of engagement any day, anytime. So do you understand? So it's something that you have to look. Every vixen watching, even producers who are watching, producers of musical shows, artists, look at that from that perspective. Now, so I was telling that guy, get a good lawyer, and finally, if after the case is done, you can also sue you can also sue the person for false prosecution, false accusation, prosecution. You can get money from that. That's a way of, they say, call it tort. You can say that the person has wronged you and you want to get money for false accusation and what have you. And I was trying to give an example of that man that was for 37 years jailed, and he came to American Got Talent to come and sing. 37 years jailed, and he spent 37 years for a crime he didn't commit until a DNA test revealed otherwise. It was going to spend his whole lifetime there. So that's why every man watching me, everyone watching me, put yourself in a position and safeguard yourself. Safeguard, fear. I mean, remove yourself from it, because there's still, there's defilement, there's domestic violence, there's gender-based violence. Some people just think that the woman should be beaten. Women they have to be knocked into sense and things like that. There's about harassment, sexual harassment at workplaces, or sexual harassment at schools. I mean, right now the Senate has passed a bill that about against harassment in school, because
schools,
you have sex for marks and things like that. And these are things that can lead and put you into a problem, a lot of problem. There's a professor that lost his professorship, lost his freedom, lost everything because of sexual harassment, which was recorded, which he didn't know. And then there's even the use of foul languages against women, calling a woman ashawo, calling those things.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You can sue for that?
Yes.
Press charges.
It is even a crime. Then you can also sue for defamation. It's a crime to call a woman, because you see the chastity of a woman is considered a virtue. That woman is virtuous is based on his chastity. So by the time you are making derogatory remarks against that person in terms of sexual looseness and what have you, by itself it's a crime. Then by the reason that the woman can even sue you for privacy.
Hello, sir. Kadri. Good morning, Kadri.
Good morning, my sister. How are you?
I'm very well, sir. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you. I want to give my piece of advice about these rape cases.
Thank you.
Okay, please go on.
My concern is about the lecturers of the universities, polytechnic, this tertiary institution. So students will turn against them, start victimizing the lecturers. So we have to be careful on this.
Yeah.
They can frame anything on their lecturers.
Yeah.
So that is my piece of advice. I want this, so we should look into this.
All right. Thank you.
I agree with you. I teach in the university, and our offices have glass panels. All the offices are glass. Even the VC's office has glass panel. So it's a through office. You can't say that. Even the professor offices have glass panel. But in many tertiary institutions, you have all the block and everything. Anything can happen. You have secretary's office before you reach the HOD's office, before you can reach all those ones. So a lot of things can happen. So that's why you have to be very careful. I know some people that you say, look, by nature, whenever it's time to have a conversation with students, they open their doors. They open their doors.
They don't want
wahala because it's very possible. A student can start telling herself now, and
just
what
set you up.
And so these are all. There's law against sexual harassment, law against prostituting, even sexual abuse and things like that. So there are so many types of laws that is not just about rape. But bottom line, probably should do to end it is that avoid it as much as possible.
As you can.
Seriously, because you're going to hurt yourself.
Much as you can.
That's about it.
Okay, so it's a wrap on this.
I think it should be a wrap.
Yes,
if you have any more questions, just call me.
Or if you have questions,
send it to my WhatsApp line.
WhatsApp number.
And then we'll get from there.
Okay, so guys, it's a wrap on sexual offenses. We'll do something new next week. You guys wouldn't want to miss the show. Trust me, I promise it to be another
good
exciting
one. A lot of people are watching this to advertise or to come and sponsor.
Yes.
A lot of
you guys come sponsor, come advertise, come sell yourself. We'll see you guys again next week, Wednesday. Have a good day.